Welcome to another video. Today I had this thought about war and conflict inspired by a post I saw of Byron Katie. If you don't know Byron Katie, you can check her out. Her website is The Work. She has some 4 or 5 questions that are very useful for some internal work. If you want to explore that, I do highly recommend it. I came across it a few years ago, and it was useful then, and now I've kind of started revisiting it and I'm discovering again how they're useful. Anyways, that's not the point of the video. Well, what I was inspired by is making this video around war and ending war really in our society. And it's important to realize that when I'm talking about war and ending war, I'm not necessarily talking about ending conflict. I do believe, or it seems at least, that as human beings we have opposing views, and those opposing views, per definition, are often in conflict with each other, as they have different polarities. And so when those opposing views clash, there can be conflict. However, how do we interact and how do we carry out conflict? That's really at the heart, and the most primitive way is I'm going to kill you, right? I'm going to take your life, I'm going to take your country, I'm pillaging your village or whatever, and I am enforcing my will onto your will. And when you look around in nature, that is the common theme, really. When you look at predators, what they do is they kill. When you look at certain tribes of monkeys or other tribes of animals, they want to expand, they are going to invade a territory and they're going to kill. They're going to be violent, they're going to be fighting. So it is really not something that is just inherent to human beings, that there's fighting, there's killing, there's competition and all of that. It seems to be very much inherent in nature. The way I know is I have spent some time looking at some National Geographic documentaries, and it really struck me that all across the board there is often violence, there's often death, and it is not just for survival in that sense. It is for survival, but it's like, if you want to expand your territory, you are already surviving, but you want to expand, right? So you're not just attacking because you are literally at the brink of death, right? You are attacking to ensure a prosperous further future for your offspring and all of that. And so nature seems to have this kind of programming, seems to have this kind of attitude that there's any fierce competition going on for resources. And so I understand that we as human beings have war, right? Because we are nature. We have come from nature. We are nature. We haven't even separated ourselves from nature. We are still nature. Everything you see here right now, this body, how you're processing this information, that was given by nature. It is not something that is out of somewhere else. You are nature, you are life. There's no separation between you and nature. You cannot make this kind of separation. You're just simply nature that has a part of nature that has the capacity to think and to reflect on itself and to see nature and analyze nature almost as if you were separate. But that's just a function that nature has developed. You're still nature. But so just because you're nature does not mean that all those kind of programming that we have needs to continue. I do believe that that we can evolve further out of this kind of programming. And so the way I see it to end war on this planet is for each one of us to take the responsibility, because what we see outside is really a reflection from what's happening within. And so if there is war within you, how do you expect the world be at peace? How can the world be at peace if you're at war? It cannot really be at peace, because And that kind of internal conflict will then come out, and you will project it onto other people, and you will start attacking other people. Now, may not go to the extent that you are going to start a war. Maybe your country actually is at peace and you're in a prosperous time, and you're like talking, well, look at it. I'm internally conflicted, yet everything around me is actually quite peaceful. Well, look at your life, really. Look at especially the relationships. See where there's conflict arising and how you're handling the conflict. Because the energy of violence is prevalent everywhere. That is not something that just simply manifests in the last step. War is like the most extreme way of violence. But when you're attacking someone, when you're having this kind of emotion and I'm right and I'm going to show them that I'm right, that is a form of kind of violence, right? That is a form of going against and trying to impose something from your view. So again, like you can have the conflict of I'm here and you're here, and we are obviously in opposite camps. But just because we're in opposite camps does not mean I have to attack you. It does not mean I have to belittle you. It does not mean that I have to try to drag you through the dirt and all of that. That does not mean I have to blame you or judge you. Those are all kind of lower levels of dealing with conflict, right? And by the way, when I'm talking about this, I am in no mean a saint, right? I am talking this because that's what I've noticed in my own life. That even though vast majority of my life is quite peaceful and harmony, there still comes conflict up and violence attached to that. War-like things within me, and then they come out. And why do they come out? Because we don't see that what is bothering us the most is what's happening within us. It is not really what other people are doing around us. It is what's happening within us, our reactions. Our reactions are the things that are really most bothersome to ourselves, but we don't see it. We only always project. And when we project, we are always then in conflict. And not just in conflict, we are then often in violence. Right? We're becoming violent to other people. So the only way that I really see that we can move forward into more peaceful times is when everyone takes more responsibility for their own internal life, for their own reactions, and starts actually looking at that. Because you may think, well, Joachim, this is irresponsible. Like how can you expect that everyone does that? Well, look at least the first world countries. Everyone is expected to have an education, right? Everyone is going to school. How can you expect that, right? How can you expect that everyone is always exploring, going outside and traveling and whatever? Well, a lot of people are getting education. A lot of people are curious in investigating the outside worlds. We have this kind of innate curiosity. And so what I'm suggesting is not that out of proportion. It's actually just saying, hey, look, instead of looking all the way outside all the time, analyzing the outside, turn around, look at yourself, look where you're coming from, look at how your experience is. And I can tell you, so many people, especially me, I was completely numb to the amount of conflict that was happening within me. I was not aware of that until I started focusing within. And it was not that I started focusing within because I was like, oh, I think there's a lot of conflict within me. I started focusing within just because I was drawn to it. And then I discovered that there was a lot of things hidden that were happening within me and that were playing then out in my life that was not something I actually wanted. But because I was unconscious to it, because I was unaware of it, it was just playing out unchecked. And so what I'm saying is to start focusing within, start looking within, not to judge yourself, not to put yourself down, not to think, oh, I'm so bad and whatever, but to actually become curious and do this kind of deep exploration within you and see what is happening within you. What is happening? Can you sit for 5 minutes without being at war with yourself? It sounds simple, but when you actually sit down for 5, 10, 15 minutes, See how long you're actually peaceful within your own being, with just being with yourself. A lot of people will have a lot of trouble with that. There will be lots of thoughts and lots of kind of conflicting thoughts coming up. And so we see like there's all this conflict happening within me. What if I would be at peace? What if I would be at peace with myself? Not just for a moment, but as a day-to-day lived experience. How would that change my life? And how would it change my interactions? It is so easy to always look outside and blame and, try to make the outside different and better. And I'm not saying that that has to stop completely. We are living in a society, and that society needs to be organized. That society needs to find consensus on how to move forward with certain things. That's very obvious to me. It's clear. However, we are doing it from a basis of conflict, and we are doing it from a program we've been given by nature that is inherently violent and greedy and all of that. That is inherently coming from nature because we want to survive. And so we have survived and we have thrived with this. And if we continue this way, we are going to self-destruct. It's not humanity's fault, but we need to evolve. We need to evolve out of this kind of violent, greed-driven society. Now, I'm not saying that being very rich, for example, is a bad thing. Absolutely not. It is not a bad thing to expand and to have different experiences and to invest into all kinds of things, That's fantastic. That's fantastic. And you can do all of that as well when you're at peace with yourself. I don't see that there's a conflict with that. But you see, everything that we're doing at some level will be influenced by this kind of programming, by this kind of violence within us. It will show up in all different kinds of areas. And so I'm not saying what you're doing has to change. I'm saying look within, and when you look within, you start to change. When you start to find more and more peace, that will permeate throughout your life, and you can keep doing whatever you're doing. However, you will have a different quality, and certain things will fall away completely. Certain things will stay, and there still will probably be a dialogue with people about certain behaviors you may have that they see as harmful, for example, for the planet or for other people, which you may be unaware. I don't think there is no finish line where you're like, yeah, I'm perfect now. No, that's not the way I see it. The way I see it is that we're continuously evolving. We're continuously evolving and changing, and a lot of that kind of evolution happens as well in interaction with people, where we start to see, holy shit, how did I show up here? I did not expect that. Where did that come from? And that gives again a rise to an exploration within you. So for me, this is really the only way we can move forward as a society if you aren't going to self-destruct, is to find a new way of being. Because our way of being right now is outdated. It has helped us tremendously. And if we want to reach the next step, we have to let go of that old way of being. And that's, as a coach, I can tell you it's very normal. I see people, you reach a certain level, and if you want to go further in this level, you have to let go of what's been useful to get you to this level. It may be hard to understand, but it's very obvious, because this is how far you got with the tools, with the skills, with the way you see the world, with the way you're showing up in the world. That's how far you get. That's it. And to get further, you need to evolve. You need to let go of certain things that brought you here. You need to take on board new things. And as humanity, I believe that is also very much the case. We've gotten this far, and a lot of systems that are in place right now are from this kind of old way of seeing life. And we need to start seeing life in different ways. We need to let go of this kind of old programming so that we can create new systems. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did and you think someone else would enjoy it, please share it. Like it if you want to have more videos in the future from me and Natasha. Then subscribe and click the bell button. When you click the bell button, you get a notification. Anyways, have a wonderful day.